Hello friends, welcome. Friends, today morning I saw this article which was published is somewhere in the newspapers, which has been picked up by Communication Today, and it was sent to me. They keep sending mailing list every day, so I just picked up this article which says COI and BIF disagrees over TRAI's PM Wani draft PTO implementation. Now friends, whoever is watching this video, I think that they must be following the telecom sector. You are following the telecom sector and you was aware of PM Wani scheme. The idea of PM Wani scheme is to make broadband affordable, ubiquitous to everybody. Very good initiative, and the intent is also good. I support that and I really like the initiative. But let me tell you friends, the foundation on which this initiative was laid, the PM Wani, was faulty. And I knew it from the very beginning, never spoken out about it so frankly. Now in this video, I am going to tell you the battle which is going on between COI and BIF, what the issues are, and what kind of problems that we have encountered with ourselves by drawing out a faulty scheme which lays on a foundation which does not exist. What are the alternatives available to us to make broadband affordable to the Indians anywhere in the country? There are better ways of doing that rather than going through this current initiative, and let me explain why. First, let's look at the controversy. The controversy started with this TRAI's draft TTO, which came out recently, which said that the tariff of PM Wani scheme should be equal to the retail broadband FTTH connection. Now, what is retail broadband FTTH connection? Everybody has broadband connectivity. Most of them today who are using computer in their home has got broadband connectivity, and you might be going to Reliance Jio or to BSNL or to Airtel to get an FTTH connection or maybe an ADSL connection to your house. ADSL has become a little bit outdated. Now everybody is offering fiber optic cable in your house. That cost roughly around 800 rupees if you are going with a higher plan, right? 200 GB plus with it's unlimited, and it is going to give you 100 megabits per second. So there are no limits as such in the usage, but the speed is limited. Somebody will give you hundreds, and there will be a plan which will give you 50 MB, like that. So now 800 rupees per month is the price of a retail connection with including GST. Roughly it is around 800 to 900 rupees. Now for a commercial connection to be connected to a Wi-Fi hotspot provider is going to be exponentially higher than this, because that's not a retail connection. So the basic reason why PM Wani is failing, and I'll tell you why it is failing, I'll show you a graph, is because of this price difference between a retail consumer as well as a commercial consumer. Now, retail and commercial consumers are different. You know that, because for retail, since you are having an unlimited data usage, and your speed is capped, you are not asked to commit to a certain usage. You are unlimited, but the usage is limited by the households in a particular family. So the operator knows that typically 2 or 3 people in the house are sharing the Wi-Fi, how much Wi-Fi consumption they can make. So there is a limit to the bit rate, data rate, but usage is unlimited. Now, if you are going to give a similar connection to a commercial user, which is going to be shared with thousands of people, one connection, then you can imagine that the operator will never be able to give an unlimited usage. He is also putting a cap on the bit rate, the data speeds on the commercial connection. So therefore, if you are asking the operators to provide a commercial connection at the retail price, what you would expect, you have to basically be fair, right? You can't be unfair with that, right? So you cannot say that a retail connection should be charged at commercial. So to me, this tariff order is completely unfair. Let me tell you very frankly, because I speak my mind out. Because it makes no sense, because what is happening is that a retail connection is shared among 1,000 users, and if the retail connection doesn't have a cap, then you are basically putting a pressure on the operators, and the operators are going to end up, giving a retail connection at to a commercial entity, and let that commercial entity leverage and harness that connectivity to thousands of users and start selling Wi-Fi connection or hotspot services to thousands of users using that particular connectivity. I don't think it is fair, because there could be a lot of misuse of if such a tariff order is put in place, because everybody will start doing that. Then what is the point in having a retail connection, right? So that's the issue. But let's look at the chart. The chart is very simple here. If you look at this chart, this is the PM Wani progress, the number of Wi-Fi hotspot versus data usage. So the hotspots are growing like this, because I have the data starting from March 2022 and the latest data is up to June 2024. So I have the information of around 200k hotspot, but look at the usage went up initially and then it basically had gone down. Now it is at 4.11 terabytes. It started with 14.22 terabytes. Now this is the network usage is now 4.11 terabytes, the total usage of all the connections. So this is dropping, and it is correct that if you are going to have a commercial connection at the rate of 6,000 rupees or whatever number that you are charging, naturally the business is going to be become unviable. But your whole business model is based on the assumption that you are going to get a commercial connection from a operator, right, in a market where there is no competitiveness left. So the market competitiveness actually has been completely got destroyed because of why? Because of high license fees, which one of the video I showed, high license fees, spectrum fees, and auction outflows. So when I did a calculation, I figured out the total AGR, if it is 100, on a yearly basis, right, operators are paying up to 40% of their revenue. Means 40 rupees are being spent of the revenue, not on the profit, as license fee, spectrum fee, and auction outflows. So if the 40% is going as outflows, then what the operator is going to do? The operators are going to conserve on capex. The barrier is going to be so high in the market that there will be no new operators, smaller players are going to vanish. And in a foundation like this, you are trying to launch in a program like PM Wani, where you have to be dependent on only those operators who are existing in the market. You have no alternative, right? So you have basically on a fault, because you don't have in control over the backhaul connection, which is going to connect those Wi-Fi hotspot. So foundationally, this program was faulty. This program was completely faulty. It was laid on a foundation which was very, very, I can say, weak. Now there is an option. Let me talk to you about the option. You have your government operator, which is BSNL, right? Now BSNL is an alternative. Everybody knows that. Why are you going to the private sector operators and asking the private sector operators for this backhaul connectivity to connect your Wi-Fi hotspot? Why are you not asking BSNL to do that? Because BSNL doesn't have the infrastructure to provide that connectivity. Simple as that. If BSNL can be regulated, because BSNL is funded by the government, but BSNL doesn't have the infrastructure ready, right? So if BSNL doesn't have the infrastructure ready, the PM Wani Wi-Fi hotspot doesn't have any other option but to go to the private operators, Vodafone, Reliance Jio and Bharti, to get the connection. And it is wrong for these private operators to force to give a retail connection to a commercial player so that he can sell it further to multiple users, right? It is unfair, it's a completely unfair thing for the government to do that. But if government had empowered BSNL, not with just wireline, because BSNL's wireline connectivity is also going down the downhill. It was the initial 30 million, now it is like around 7 million or 6 million wireline connection. It is going down. Like the wireless subscriber is going down, the wireline connection is also going down. But there is a huge opportunity. The opportunity is BSNL's 4G network. Do you agree? BSNL's 4G network, because PM Wani even if you have a Wi-Fi hotspot, you need a device, you need a phone, right? To access that Wi-Fi hotspot. You will not have it. Those affordable users will not have a PC or a laptop to access. They need a device. So you need a 4G phone, low-end 4G phone to be able to access those Wi-Fi hotspot at 10 rupees per GB, whatever the data, rates that those providers decide who are selling PM Wani services. So there has to be device first. Now, if that device is going to be a phone, then why look for a Wi-Fi hotspot for them to access data? Why not empower BSNL to provide them with an affordable 4G connectivity which will be throughout the country, spread out everywhere? You don't require a hotspot to go into and make a connection to your phone. This is such a horrible plan. I don't understand who designed such plans. Wi-Fi hotspot, even if you have 200k Wi-Fi hotspot, the reach of this Wi-Fi hotspot are so small because of power regulation, because Wi-Fi cannot transmit at high power because of regulation, because these are on unlicensed spectrum band. You cannot transmit at high power because it will cause interference to a neighborhood operator who is using a Wi-Fi router. So your transmissions capability from the base stations are extremely regulated, and they are very, very low. They are put down, they are driven down by regulation. But for BTS, from mobile BTSs, they are not. So for a 4G BTS, the connection could be very, very large. The coverage could be very, very large. So if you have, let's say BSNL has 100k BTSs throughout the country. I'm just quoting a number. This is a minimal number. The coverage this 100k BTS can give for 4G is going to be exponentially higher than this 200k Wi-Fi hotspot. I don't understand what is going on here, right? Because you need a device, right? You have a 4G phone or BSNL, you connect, and your coverage is going to be significantly higher. You don't have to wait for a Wi-Fi hotspot which will have a bottleneck on the backhaul, right? Because backhaul bottleneck has to be there. You can't have an unlimited backhaul connectivity so that you can use data without any as if there is no tomorrow. So you can't do that. So BSNL should have been empowered. Now the problem is that which I have been explaining in many of my past video, government is deploying 4G network in a band which is 700, which doesn't have native 4G connectivity nor throughout the world. So BSNL has two bands for 4G. I told you that if you have 4G connectivity of BSNL ubiquitous throughout the network, then you can give BSNL direction to reduce the data rates significantly compared to what the private operators are offering. That is a better plan, right? But your BSNL's 4G deployment plan is completely screwed up. Why? Because you are deploying 4G in 2100 MHz band and in 700 MHz band. And the problem is that for 700 MHz 4G access, you need a 5G device. You cannot have a simple 4G device to access 700 MHz 4G. And this 5G device is costly. It is not cheap. Because this 5G device will have 5G radio and 4G radio. And if you are going to latch on to BSNL's 700 MHz using a 4G device, then that 4G device investment that you make has to be thrown in the dustbin after 1 or 2 years, as soon as BSNL migrate their 700 MHz band to 5G. Because that 4G cannot latch onto 700 MHz band, it will have to latch onto 2100 MHz band, and the coverage of the network is going to shrink significantly. So you will not be able to access data. So what kind of plan is this? This is so ridiculous. I do not understand what kind of plan that we make. We come out with a PM Wani scheme, which looks very good. Intent is look, but the foundation is not there. Because you are dependent on the private operators for backhaul connectivity. And the private operators, asking the private operators give backhaul connectivity at retail rates are completely unfair. I do not agree to this, because this is not the way, because it can be misused And the whole broadband connectivity, FTH connectivity is, market is going to fall apart because you are circumventing the whole plan through a hotspot mechanism, which is running commercial services on a non-commercial connectivity. As I told you that non-commercial connectivity has got certain limitation. Only few numbers of people are using, multiple people are not using, and therefore you are getting unlimited data. So that is not the foundation. BSNL should be giving 4G connectivity so that 4G devices are affordable. 2,000, 1,000 rupees 4G devices connect to BSNL 700 megahertz network, and if you have 100k 700 megahertz network, you don't require these Wi-Fi hotspot. PM Wani is not required. We are wasting our time and energy in PM Wani. This is such a ridiculous thing. Let me tell you, I'm very sorry to say, sometimes I don't get so passionate, right? But look at the whole foundation, the way we are progressing. This is not the way. You have the method, and how can BSNL do 4G very, very, in a more effective manner? I have been saying this. 800 megahertz spectrum, 4G has been in use for last 6 years. Devices are available in 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 rupees. Devices are available with Wi-Fi connectivity in those devices. So why are you not doing it 800 megahertz, which is lying free? The spectrum has not been taken by the operators. 2 times it was offered in the auction. Nobody took that spectrum. And that should have been given to BSNL to do 4G. And then in 700 megahertz, BSNL should have done 5G. Because that was going to give the countries and their users an affordable path to access data. So this PM Wani, right, looks very great project, but doesn't have a foundation, right? And if you are going to force the operators with a tariff plan, which is going to be equal to a retail connection to a commercial user, this is going to be a distortion. This is not the way market should be regulated. I don't believe that this is the way market should be regulated. It is a faulty thing to do. BSNL should be empowered because BSNL can give broadband connectivity to those affordable users who really cannot pay that much amount of money. They can use the same device because that 4G or that phone is going to be used in connecting to this Wi-Fi hotspot. So you already have a device, right? Why you need a Wi-Fi hotspot when you have a 4G connectivity in that device? Got it? So that is the reason I wanted to do this video. I'm getting very passionate about this. Sorry for that, friends. But look at this controversy, completely useless. If you do this way, if you follow the right approach, India can become a great country. You will really empower your consumers and users. Why are you keeping the 800 megahertz spectrum vacant? 50% of 800 megahertz spectrum is vacant and nobody is going to take it. I'll guarantee you that. Because they have not taken it in last 2 auctions. It was offered, it was taken back by the government. It was again offered, it was taken back. And 800 megahertz is a mature spectrum with 4G devices, right? And in 700 megahertz band, if you are going to enter 700 megahertz band without a 5G device, then your 4G device, if you are going to have just a 4G device, then your 4G device has to be thrown in dustbin because in India, nobody does 4G in 700 megahertz band. As soon as BSNL migrates to 5G, unless you have a 5G only device, 5G plus 4G device, your device has to be thrown in the dustbin. Do you get it now? That's what the problem that the government of India has created for us. So friends, I hope that you probably have understood this issue. And that is the whole purpose of doing this video, is to enlighten you how easily we can solve this problem. 200k Wi-Fi hotspot, 100k base stations, 4G base stations. That 100k 4G base station can have exponentially large coverage compared to those hotspots because of regulatory requirement of transmitting power has to be restricted to a fraction of those BTSs can transmit because there are no regulatory, similar regulatory constraint as Wi-Fi base stations have to undergo. Okay friends, thank you for your time and listening to the end, and I'll come back to you next time with a new video. Thank you very much.